Hello, and a warm welcome to Dodger Strips. I'm Dodger, and today I've come to Dewsbury. When I knew I was coming to Dewsbury, I looked on Google Street View to find the walking directions to where I needed to go. And in doing that, in following the route, I spotted a unique, unusual building. And so it's that I'm going to show you today. Not the reason I've come to Dewsbury, and it's actually a busy intersection, but there's an interesting story behind the building. And from what I could reckon, this may well be the only pub like it in the UK. Maybe you can tell me differently. So I'm here at George Street, and as I walk down, the building we're going to see is at the end of this sort of block of properties, and you'll start to see exactly why I think it's unique. And it's this old pub. Now the story of the pub is interesting in its own right. This is actually the John F. Kennedy Free House. How did a pub in Dewsbury come to be known as the John F. Kennedy? There was a window cleaner who worked in Leeds, and in 1968 he bought this property, and what he used to do would buy properties, do them up, rent them out, and he bought this one from Bass Charrington. But there's a proviso that it couldn't be used as a pub. Now this window cleaner, and I will put his name on the screen, he took on this building in 1968, and although he'd had no former training or interested in running a pub, he decided that he would make a go of it and open it as his own pub. So he had meetings with Bass and put it to him, I think you're making a mistake not letting me run this as a pub. He said, you could be selling your beer in here. So anyway, he managed to convince them to allow him to open the building as a pub. He got his licence, he was able to choose whatever name he wanted for the pub. And he chose the name John F. Kennedy because, as he said, apart from his own family members and friends, the death of President Kennedy was the one that impacted him on the most, and he could remember, like most people, where they were when news came through that the President of America had been shot and killed. So he decided he wanted something topical, up to date, you could say, and he chose the name John F. Kennedy. This pub became known, a bit of a biker's pub. Bikers used to gather here and meet, and apparently had one of the best jukeboxes in Dewsbury. And he met his partner, or wife, Sue, in 1973, and they continued to run this pub. He kept up with the licence. At one point, he was only opening it one day a week. There was a raid by the trading standards and the police, and although he wasn't charged, it put a damper on running the pub business. And from then on, he would only open at his own convenience. He kept the licence so he could have parties for his friends and his family, and apparently he even ran a club from the basement here. There's a report in the Yorkshire Life from 2018, and that was going to be the 50th anniversary of him taking the pub on from 1968. In 2018, the paper reckoned he was at least 80 years old. He was quite coy about his actual age, but they described him as an octogenarian. Is that the proper phrase? And at that point, he was only opening a pub. at his convenience, and they were really using the building as living accommodation. So that was 2018, 6 years further on. I mean, the windows are all, the curtains are all drawn. You can still see the bar with the beer taps. So the pub fittings are all in place still. So whether they live there now and don't open up at all, who knows? But I'd be very interested if anybody knows another pub in the UK called the John F. Kennedy. I imagine there's probably a pub or a bar in Ireland named after the president, but I don't know of another one in the UK. So does that make it truly unique in this country? Please let me know in the comments. I hope you enjoyed that little brief look at the John F. Kennedy. I'll walk away, leave it behind. As I say, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you wherever the next trip may be.